I have a total of 50 fun activities that I did with my kids, but only 10 per video. So this is the second video. And I will say before I get started on my list that being a winner is a choice. Being a good person and a hard worker and a person that's good to their neighbor is a choice, no matter how good of parents you have or how bad of parents you have. And I am very happy to say that all four of my kids have chosen to be winners. They are hard workers and honest people. And so that's really a big blessing to me because I didn't do it, they chose it. So, number one is reading party. And what a reading party is you think of certain books or certain category of books that you like to read, and you make a party with it. You make foods with those type of things. Like, for example, I like reading Western novels, so therefore I would get some beef jerky and some baked beans, because in a lot of those Western novels they had to dry their beef to preserve it, and then they had the beans. And so we'd have the, like I said, the beef jerky and the dry and the baked beans. And another type of book that I liked was those Joanne Fluke cozy mysteries. And now that was a wide variety of things I had to choose from because those books had have so many recipes in them. So with those books, I could have blueberry muffins, chocolate chip cookies, and a lot of other things. And so I would make food that correlated with certain books or certain types of books. I discovered this type of party when my youngest daughter was really into reading, and my oldest daughter had already gone off to college, and my son was too old to care about that. And then my middle daughter, I don't think she was really that interested in it. So I wish I had a thought of reading parties back when my oldest daughter was still at home. That would have been so much fun, especially since she loves to read so much. She would have really enjoyed those. But yeah, I thought of those reading parties, like I said, after most of them was grown, so it was mostly my youngest daughter that really enjoyed them, but they were still fun. So maybe we can have some more with the grandkids and the grown kids. Just because they're grown doesn't mean they can't have fun and have a reading party. Number two, I took my kids trick or treating, and yes, they enjoyed that so much. Number three, we baked cookies. Number four, I took them every year to see the Christmas lights. We never had any. We lived mostly in apartment complexes, so I would take them out to where all the pretty houses were all decorated up, and they really enjoyed that. Number five, sometimes I just took them fun shopping where there was no stress. Because normally, when you go for groceries and necessities, it's stress. You usually are on a time limit, and then you got to take all the stuff inside. And but this was just, no, we wasn't on any time limit. We would just go and look around and maybe buy a few things, maybe not. It was just relaxing. Number six, we had a Christmas Eve party. Those were so fun. The night before Christmas, we would have a party and have little snacks, fake wine and chips and candy and cookies and whatever snacks we had. And I would take the kids to Dollar Tree so they could buy dollar gifts. And so back when they were little, they could actually find a gift for $1 that they actually enjoyed. And so, yeah, we would have a Christmas Eve party and have a dollar gift that we got to open up. Number seven, one day for Mother's Day, I took them out to eat. Of course, at that time, they were too young to take me out to eat. They hadn't gotten jobs yet. But I told them that even though usually on Mother's Day the kids take the mothers out to eat, I said, if you look at it, maybe it should be the other way around because if it wasn't for those kids, the mother wouldn't be a mother. And I love being a mother so much. So instead of them thanking me, I was thanking them for being my child so that I could be a mother because I remember when I was little, I played with dolls and I wanted to be a mommy so bad. And it finally happened. So, yeah, I just did that one time. Now they usually take me out to eat. I know I could still have that philosophy. Well, you made me a mother. I should take you out to eat. But all through the year, I'm doing things for them. So I'll just let them do that for me. Number eight. One time they had a project where they put their pics in these like homemade picture frames and they put glitter and stuff on them and then they put a magnet on them and then I got to put them on the refrigerator. So I had all four of my kids' pics on my refrigerator. Now since then I've moved a couple of times, so those pics I still have them in my with my pics. I probably need to dig them out and put them back on my refrigerator, even though they're grown. Number nine is I remember one time we had dinner at a drive up restaurant and ate in the car. Now, yeah, that may not seem like anything extravagant, but we didn't get to eat out that much. And I know when I was a kid, if I had have gotten to do that, I would have been thrilled. So, yeah, it was fun just going to that drive up restaurant and having dinner in the car. And 10, sometimes we just had silent reading time. And that may not sound like anything big, but actually it is because we just get so busy. And if we can just have some time to just set aside and shut out our worries and just read. And while the kids are reading, you never know what world they're into, especially with all these good books out there. Now, I know because I have kids, I have gotten into some books that I wouldn't have normally gotten into because they would be reading a book and they would say, Mama, this is good, you ought to read it. And so I'd read it, or I'd just be curious about what they're reading. And so I would read it. Like, for example, my oldest daughter loved R.L. Stein books, and I was just curious. I read one, and I'm still reading them today. They are so good. I don't care that they're teen or preteen or whatever you want to call them, they are so good. And some of them was reading the Nancy Drew books. I think my son was reading those. I had never read a Nancy Drew, even though they were around back when I was a kid. I just never read one. And I read one and I loved it, and I read some more. I need to get back into them. I don't care if they're teen or preteen, they're good. And there's another book, I think it was my middle daughter was reading. I think it's called Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Her whole class had to read it, and I was just curious. I read it. It was so good. And those are just some examples. So when your kids are reading, you get curious and you read what they're reading, and sometimes it makes you want to read those books too. Now, don't get me wrong, I read adult books too, but I just love to read. So, anyway, that's my 10 for today, and enjoy your kids.